As you know, here on the channel, we've been breaking down the entire process of self-publishing from scratch, from brainstormed idea all the way to a published manuscript you can hold in your hands. And today we're getting super practical as we're talking about the exact process for getting your book published on KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing on Amazon, and exactly the steps that I took to get here. If you have been watching the series and you have a pretty good memory, you might remember that this series is supposed to be over now. But that's because I miscalculated how many Tuesdays and Thursdays there are in July when I was planning this series. And so I accidentally planned for too few videos. And that's why I was being like,
Guys, there's only like 4 videos and you'll know how to self-pub.
there's actually like 5 or 6 that are needed. So if you're wondering what that's all about, I don't do math, and that's how that happens. So the first step when self-publishing is to buy your own ISBNs. That's just the little barcode and the numbers on the back of a book. And in this case, although Amazon will offer you free ones, I'm going to advise you not to take that route. And here's why. The origin of your ISBN pretty much determines who your book's publisher is. Even though you're self-published, if you use the Amazon ISBN that they provide, then Amazon is your publisher as well as your printer. If you use an ISBN number that you purchase, you are the publisher yourself, and Amazon can just be the printer. This is important if you want to get your books into brick and mortar stores at some point, because most of the indie bookstores that support self-published authors are not interested in supporting their competition, Amazon, who would technically be publishing the books. So you definitely want to go with buying your own ISBN. Bowker is the main source of ISBNs. That's where I purchased mine. I got mine in a 10-pack for $295. Like $295. It's kind of a lot, but that comes out to a little under $30 per ISBN. And then you own your book entirely, including its publishing and its ISBN. This is not something that you want to skip, and it's a mistake I made when I was a new author. So learn from my mistakes. That's what your writing bestie is for. Now, I do want to mention before we go too much farther that KDP is the most accessible and the most widely known. Everyone knows what Amazon is, and they know that they can buy books there. So there's a lot of benefit to having that name recognition and the massive amount of availability. Amazon prints books on demand in countries all over the world. That's a super big benefit. However, it's not the only print on demand option. And I am not really qualified to address those, so I have linked a video in the description to help you guys if you want to search out other options for printing on demand other than Amazon, because I've only used Amazon and Lulu, which I'll talk a little bit about. But if you're looking for other options, definitely check that video out. As you know, KDP, Amazon, is associated with Kindle. So when you publish on KDP, you can publish ebooks, which go to Kindle, and we'll talk a little bit more about the benefits of that in just a minute. And then you could also publish paperbacks, which is exactly what this one is. That's directly from KDP. They also have like very limited hardcover options. They do printed hard cases, but they do not offer dust jackets or any other hardcover fancy features. There are print-on-demand services that do this, which of course you'll be able to see in the comparison video I've linked, but I only use Lulu and Barnes & Noble Press. Barnes & Noble Press I used a few years ago, and I wasn't super impressed with the quality. Lulu has great quality, and they do also offer global distribution. They're just way lesser known, so it can be a little bit harder to get people to buy your books just like on a whim. People are less likely to stumble across your book on Lulu because people don't shop on Lulu as often as people shop on Amazon. But if you are mostly getting sales from direct links, then you might be able to use Lulu pretty successfully. It just depends on how you're marketing your book and where most of your sales are coming from. I showed off the special edition of Inheritance of Ink in a previous video, but it's so pretty, but I'm gonna do it again. Hardcover right here, and it's got a gorgeous dust jacket, really high quality, cream paper, super gorgeous. The illustrations printed out awesome. And then it's a linen wrap, Inheritance of Ink on this fine, super beautiful. And this cost me personally, as the author, buying an author copy, $20. I do have to sell them for slightly more for a profit, and that's something to keep in mind if you're trying to keep your sales price low. I do want to be honest with you guys, KDP is not a perfect print-on-demand service. As far as quality goes. A lot of times books do come with like some minor glue stains on the covers. They're not like sticky or anything. You can see them in various lighting. This doesn't just happen with books I order for myself. I get indie books a lot on Amazon, and sometimes that's just a weird quirk that they have. Occasionally printing can be misaligned or the pages can come wrinkled. This is just a downside of using a service that's really large and basically the cheapest you can get in the market. Now, that being said, generally quality is acceptable. I'd say it's only about 5 to 10% of the time that these issues show up, but you should be aware of them. All right, as I previously mentioned, there are some benefits to publishing with KDP when it comes to ebooks, and that is Kindle. One huge benefit that Kindle does offer is that you can run promotions. If you sign up for Kindle Unlimited, which is usually a 90-day sign-up period, people who have the Kindle Unlimited membership are able to read your book for free as part of the service. You will get paid per page they read. And another thing to keep in mind is that it will allow you to run promotions. These promotions include things like free or sale discounts, and it's an awesome way to increase your reach. I just did a promotion recently for Gift of the Tiding Bearer, the first in my series, and I ran the ebook for free all weekend. I had almost 200 copies go out to readers, and it's gotten me much increased reader base. So that's a huge perk to using Kindle, and it's something to consider when you're doing ebook publications, which I 100% recommend. If you're publishing a book as a paperback, you should also provide an ebook that is well formatted professionally for ebook service, because this is a huge way to increase accessibility, and so many more readers are going to be able to get to your book, read your story, and leave reviews when they love it. There are a lot of things to consider when you're trying to figure out exactly who to publish with, and KDP might be the one for you, or it might not be. Ultimately, the decision is up to you and what's best for your story. Please leave your questions in the comments for anything that's come to mind during this series. If you can believe it, we're actually coming up on the end, and the final part of self-publishing from scratch is going to be coming out next week, and it's a Q&A answering your questions, specifically about publication, the process of self-publishing, and even inheritance of ink. So if you've got questions about this story specifically, then please drop them there. I cannot wait to hear from you guys and to answer your questions. As a self-published author of 4 books, I feel really blessed and honored to get to share what I've learned with others in this format. And I hope that if it has helped you, that you will share it with another writing friend or someone else who is interested in writing their own book. Knowing the whole process from start to finish can be such a huge boost, and I really wish that I had someone to tell me these things when I was first starting out. It's an overwhelming process, and keep doing your research. This is such a big subject, and there are so many talented self-published authors on the internet offering their insights, so check out the videos that I've linked below and do more research to figure out what's really going to be the best option for you. Inheritance of Ink is launching on August 4, and on that day, I'm also going to be reading you guys the first chapter as we celebrate the launch together. Until next time, stay kind, curious, and courageous, and I will see you guys for the final part next week. Bye!